Okay. All right. So I planned this call last week, and just so you guys know how I do my calls, I like plan them out in my notes in my phone, and then like an hour before the call, I sit down and I write everything on paper so I can kind of like collect my thoughts. So I actually did all that last week. So I'm hoping I can come back into my notes and make sense of everything. So if I'm a little bit all over the place in some moments, that's why, because I'm just trying to remember exactly what I was wanting to talk about. But hold on, let me make sure I actually have my notes right here. Okay, so the topic of tonight's call, if I was a new coach again. So the reason I decided to do this call is I'm in a group with a few top coaches, and I was watching a couple of videos that they did. And when I say top coaches, I mean like a few of the coaches that are in the top 10. And one of them is Ruth, oh gosh, I forgot her name, Ruth Schroner, I want to say. If you guys don't know who she is, you can look her up. She's really awesome. She actually like moved to top 10 like really quickly. Like she was like, nobody knew who she was, and then boom, next thing you know, she's in top 10. So she's in this group. And so I was like watching some of her videos, because I kind of choose my time wisely with which top coaches I watch their trainings and videos and stuff like that, just because I'm busy all the time. So I try to choose the ones that really speak to me and who like really kind of inspire me. And she's one that does. So she did this video where she talked about if she kind of lost, I think, what was the topic? If she like completely lost all of her social media accounts, how she would like restart her business. Like if she had to start from scratch, basically, what would she do? And then she talked about a couple things that she wished that she would have done differently as a new coach, and things along that line. So it kind of got like me thinking, it got my wheels spinning. And I feel like something I can really offer you guys, being that I have been in this business so long, and I really kind of had to walk the walk by myself in a sense. You know, obviously I had my team behind me, but as a leader, I kind of had to figure out those things on my own. And in the beginning, I kind of thought that was a disadvantage, but now I look back and I really kind of feel like that was an advantage for me, because I was able to really dive in and figure things out and learn some lessons. So like I was saying, the advantage I think I have with you guys is I can kind of share those lessons that I had to learn personally. And I can give you some tips and some advice that if you guys will actually take it and use it, I think it will be really helpful for you. So one thing that I did want to say before I go into kind of giving you guys all these tips and all these things that, you know, I kind of wish I would have done differently. I wish I would have done them differently, but at the same time, I'm grateful that I did everything the way I did, because like I said, it helped me learn and it helped me grow. So one thing that I do want to say to you guys before I go into this call is to really kind of embrace your journey. And I know like you hear that and you're like, whatever, you know, it's easy for you to say now, but I really truly believe that we have to grow into like the people that we want to be. We have to grow into the leaders that we want to be. And we have to grow into the business owners that we want to be. And we have to grow into the coaches that we want to be. I've talked about this before, but I really truly believe that if we had everything that we wanted dumped in our lap tomorrow, we would have no idea what to do with it. You know, if you had this huge team just put in your lap tomorrow, you'd be like, I have no idea how to help all these people. If you had if you signed up 50 challengers tomorrow as a new coach, you'd be like, what the heck do I do with all these people? And those are like really abstract, drastic numbers. But I truly believe there's something to be said for walking the walk and learning the lessons and doing the personal development and working through your struggles, because it gives you that solid foundation. And that is one thing that I can tell you guys about me. I was a little bit of a slower grower. It took me a little bit more time to get to where I wanted to be. But I do feel like I have a very solid foundation when it comes to my business, when it comes to my mindset. There really is there's no doubt there. There's really no like shaking me or shaking my business. And, you know, I really found that to be true last year when I went through everything I went through, and it didn't shake me. It didn't ruin my business. And that is because I had worked for so long to gain that sturdy foundation. Okay. So just wanted to kind of point those things out before I go into this call. So just really try to embrace your journey. But then on the flip side, don't use that as an excuse. Don't be like, oh, you know, I'm a slow grower, so I'm not going to do anything in my business. Or, you know, I'm never going to sign up challengers, or I'm never going to run challenge groups, you know, because I'm a slow grower. You have to put in the work and you have to put in the effort, but you just have to be patient and you have to be willing to work for it. Just like that quote that I shared in the group the other day. You know, what did it talk about? You have to be willing to climb in order to get to the peak. And it talks about how so many people, they want the success, but they don't want to work to get the success. And you guys, if you want the success, you have to work for it. That is one thing I can tell you I did, is I worked for it. And you don't always see, you know, what everybody does on the back end. You don't see what I do on the back end. You don't see what the top coaches do on the back end all the time. But I can promise you that there is effort put in. There's struggles that we overcome. We all go through it. Okay. So embrace that. All right. So I have a little list of some things that I would have done differently / some things that I feel like I kind of did right without really knowing I was doing it right. And I really just kind of want to share these things with you guys just to kind of give you tips, and maybe hopefully you'll take away something from it that either you can be like, all right, I'm doing that right, or maybe I need to do a little bit more of this. And hopefully it can help you out a little bit. So I said as a new coach, I wish I would have known these things, but this doesn't mean that this call is only for new coaches, because maybe you were kind of like me where you kind of acted like a new coach for, you know, a pretty long time when you weren't actually a new coach. You know, maybe you signed up a year ago, but you didn't really work the business that much. So it's not just for new coaches. It's for anybody at any point in your journey, because I feel like at any point in our journey, we can go back and kind of, or not go back, but we can look at where we're at and kind of be like, okay, what is there anything we need to change right now? Is there anything we need to do differently? Okay. So the first thing that I would have done as a new coach is complete a freaking program. Like, actually complete it. Do you guys know that 80-Day Obsession is going to be the first program that I ever completed all the way through, ever, which is crazy, you guys. That's crazy. And so it wasn't like I never did programs, but what I would do, so the program I started with was Brazil Butt Lift. So I started the workouts. It came with a meal plan, but I kind of did my own thing because that was back before the portion control containers, and it was like all written on paper, like old school. So I kind of like did my own meal plan, and I did Brazil Butt Lift. I want to say that I did the workouts for the 90 days, but I didn't really follow the meal plan. I did my own thing. Then it was 21 Day Fix. 21 Day Fix came out, and I did that for maybe like one round or something. And then I was dabbling back into Brazil Butt Lift, and then something else came out and I started that, and I was all over the place. And that's fine. You can do that. I mean, if you want to use Beachbody On Demand and do different workouts, but you got to follow some type of system. And I wasn't really following a system. I was kind of just getting bored and dabbling all over the place. Like, I was kind of all over the place. So the problem with that is, when you're doing that, you want to give your challengers one system to follow. But if you're not following one system, you can't really expect your challengers to follow one system. And then you can't really expect them to get the results they want to get, because if they're doing the workouts and making up their own meal plan, they're probably not going to get the right results. Okay. So I would have completed a program all the way through. I would have chosen a workout program, followed the workouts, did the meal plan, and then I would have gotten my freaking t-shirt, because that is another thing. I never have gotten a t-shirt for completing a program, guys. Like, terrible coach right here. It's terrible to say, but you better believe I'm getting my t-shirt for 80 Day Obsession. So the next thing I would do is I would have taken a lot of before pictures. Okay. This is another big one that I regret. I do not have a lot of before pictures from when I first began my journey. All I have are my, like, I did my before pictures that you're supposed to do as a challenger, but I had like shorts on. You couldn't really like see my main struggle area, which has always been like my love handles and like the back of my butt and my thighs. I was covering all that with my shorts, and you couldn't really see my struggle area. So now I try to really share my transformation with like my back and my butt, with those being like two of my big struggle areas. And I literally only have like one picture, one before picture to use for that, because it was a picture that was like accidentally snapped of me that I ended up not deleting off of my phone, and it got transferred onto my computer. But that's the only reason I have that picture. So, and it's because back in the day when I took pictures, of course I didn't show the areas that I didn't like. You know, I always chose a picture where I looked good, my butt looked good, whatever looked good, you know, and you couldn't see my struggle areas. So before I started 80 Day Obsession, knowing now, I did a lot of different before pictures. I showed, you know, different areas of my body, different stances, like different outfits. I did a lot of different before pictures so I could really share like the whole transformation with people. So that's one thing that I would have done differently, is I would have taken more before pictures, you know, using different angles, wearing different outfits, showing different body parts, even if I was like, oh my gosh, like I will never show the world my butt the way it looks now. Take the picture anyways, because once you get to a point where you have that transformation, you might change your mind. You might be like, let me share this with people so they know that if this is, you know, what they're working with right now, they can transform that. Okay. And then I would have shared my results consistently. This is another huge one that I really just learned with 80 Day Obsession. So when I went into 80 Day Obsession, I told myself this is going to be like a life transforming program for me, because I'm going to make it that. I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow it, and I'm going to freaking share the crap about it. Share the crap out of it, whatever. And I did that, you guys, and it has paid off tremendously. I have hit Success Club, over Success Club 10 since I started 80 Day Obsession. I'm already at Success Club 10 for the month now, which is not my norm, you guys. Like, I know you hear that from some coaches and you're like, whatever, it's Success Club 10, but you guys got to realize I've always been more of like a Success Club 5 girl. Like, you know, I help a couple people every month, and that's what I do. But because I have been sharing so consistently, it has brought people out. Like, it's inspired them and motivated them again. I've had people messaging me that I haven't talked to in years. And you can feel like super annoying sometimes. You can feel like, man, I'm being like really annoying, like I'm sharing way too much. But you just got to remind yourself that this is our freaking job. Like, this is who we are. This is what we do. So your job as a coach is to share your results and to share them consistently. And who cares if you feel like you're being annoying? That's your job. That is our job. So just know that if you feel like, oh man, people are going to get annoyed with me, whatever, this is who we are, and that's what we're supposed to do. Okay. So embrace that, because that's another thing that I used to struggle with, was really embracing the fact that coaching is my job. It's what I do. It's what I'm supposed to share about. Yes, you want to share other areas of your life as well, you know, but Beachbody, coaching, exercise, that's all a huge part of my life. So I'm going to share that consistently. So I would have shared my results consistently with every program. And there are going to be times in between, guys, where you're not going to have big drastic results, and that's okay. But then there's also going to be times where life happens, or you know, something gets in the way, or you start having health issues like I had last year, and you're gonna kind of feel like you're going backwards in your results. You might, you know, gain some weight, blah, 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 whatever. And then you can share that again, because the fact of the matter is we're all human and life is gonna happen every now and then, okay? So you share your results as you go through the different times in your life, and you just show people that. And then when you have those times where you don't have big results to share, so what? Go back and take an old before picture and, you know, show them where you used to be versus where you are now. So there's always something you can be sharing. And yes, with 80 Day Obsession, I've been sharing before and after pictures like every single week. Once I'm done with 80 Day Obsession, I probably won't share before and after pictures every single week. You know, for the next couple months while I'm doing something else, I will still share about my workouts on the regular, but I won't necessarily share before and after pictures every single week. Maybe, I don't know yet. But I'm still going to share them at least like once a month, even if I have to pull an old picture, okay? And the thing is, guys, the reason we need to do this is because you have to constantly be in people's heads nowadays. Like, we live in a world nowadays where everybody is sidetracked. They've got 5 million things going on. There are so many ladies out there who really want to get in shape. They really want, you know, to change their bodies and change their health, but they're so like sidetracked with everything going on that they constantly put that on the back burner. You know, they think about it, they think about making that change, and then they're like, nah, like, can't spend money on that, you know, got to do this, or don't have time to exercise, got to take care of the kids. And they keep pushing it on the back burner. But if you're in their newsfeed sharing constantly about, you know, what you're doing and how you're doing it, and showing them that it's possible, and showing them that you're a busy mom or a full-time student or whatever it is, but you're still making it happen. If you're giving them that reminder on the regular, it's going to help them make the decision to commit. Okay. So you are basically advertising, sorry, I'm getting text messages. You're advertising what you have to offer. Okay. Your social media is your advertisement. So, and I hate to kind of word it like that. Like, that kind of sounds gross, but you have to show people what you have to offer, or they're not going to know. And you have to remind them constantly what you have to offer. Okay. And speaking of before and after pictures, something I would have done differently. And this is actually one that Ruth talked about. I told you I watched her videos, and she talked about a couple things that she would have done differently. She said the same thing that I said. And that is that I would have done one before and one after picture right next to each other. So I see it all the time, and I used to do it too, where people share their before and after pictures, and it is like 4 pictures at once, or it'll be like a before picture that's like really zoomed out, and then the after picture will be like really zoomed in, or vice versa. And it's not as appealing that way. It's not as appealing, and you can't really see the results that way. So I'm trying to like really kind of paint a picture for you guys. So let's say you share 4 before and after pictures, like in a square. Let's just say you do like a graph with a square, and you have 4 pictures. People can't really see the difference as well as if you just share 1 before and after picture, standing the same way, wearing either the same outfit or a similar outfit. Keep it clean, simple, And don't do like one zoomed out and one zoomed in, because automatically that makes people like skeptical. Like, why are you, you know, people are like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you zooming in on one and zooming out on the other? You don't want me to see it? Give them both right next to each other, simple, good lighting, so they can see it for themselves, okay? And so only 2 pictures side by side, before and after. And I talked about this on another call, but only do like one like body part at a time. That's not really a good way to word it. Like, only show like one transformation at a time. So maybe, you know, one week you want to do like your side by side with you standing sideways to kind of show like all over. Maybe the next week you want to do like you standing backwards to show like your back and your butt. You know, maybe another week you want to do a face transformation. You really just want to show them the difference in your face. Okay. But think about these things and be aware of the way they're going to look to other people, and keep them simple. One picture side by side. And if you guys need an idea of like what you want them to look like, go on my profile and you can look through my pictures. I have a ton of before and after pictures that I've posted recently, and just keep it simple. Okay. The other thing that I would have done differently, a lesson that I learned, is that I would have been proud of my successes, even if they were small compared to other people. So this is something that I struggled with in the beginning. And it's actually something, it was funny, Dara Laporta, I don't know how to say her last name, who is another top coach. She's not in the top 10, but she's a top coach. She actually talked about this at one of the Super Saturdays. And she talked about how her and Bonnie Engel, and if I'm saying a bunch of names of coaches you guys don't know, don't worry about it. But basically, I'm just kind of comparing top coaches. And the reason I talk about top coaches to you guys is because obviously they're doing something right. Like, if they're, you know, in the top of the company, they're doing something right. Okay. So Dara and Bonnie signed up under Lindsay Matway around the same time. Bonnie ended up moving like at a much faster pace. She saw a lot more success as far as like rank and income and stuff like that. And Dara saw that, but she saw it at like a slower pace. And she talked about how when that first happened, it really bothered her. And then she had to sit back and realize that her and Bonnie are different. Their lives are different. Bonnie at that time had no kids. Dara had at that time 2 or 3. Now she has 4. And so the thing is, I used to do this too. You know, I would sit back and I'd watch these coaches who were excelling faster than me, or maybe they got a higher rank than me or whatever. And I would do the same thing. And you know, it was like, why am I not, you know, going that far? Or why is it not happening that quick for me? And you have to realize a couple things. First of all, everybody has a different past, okay? And they have different like mental blocks. So a lot of us have things that we have to work through from life and from who we are. And when you become an entrepreneur and a coach, it takes a lot of work in here to really find that confidence and, you know, find all that. Some people might already be there, you know, so maybe you guys sign up at the same time and your life looks very similar, but maybe in here, you've got a lot more that you need to work through, and this other person has already done that work. So they might excel a little bit quicker. You know, or maybe it's the difference of you have kids and the other person doesn't, or you have different parenting, you know, different beliefs when it comes to your parenting. So for me, for example, guys, when I started this business because I wanted more time with my kids. So I wasn't willing to have somebody else watch my kids or take care of my kids. I wasn't willing to hire a nanny or anything like that so I could work the business. I just personally wasn't willing to do that. That wasn't my goal. That wasn't what I wanted. And I knew that that meant that I might have grown a little bit slower because I couldn't invest, you know, as much time as somebody else could. So you know, maybe somebody else that was willing to hire a nanny and or have somebody watch their kids while they worked the business, they might have excelled a little bit faster. So you got to keep those things in mind. Your story is different. Your journey is different than everybody else's. And honestly, comparing yourself to anybody else is just ignorant, because that is just you thinking you know their life when you don't. And the other thing is, you have no idea what those people are doing behind closed doors. You have no idea how many hours they're working. You know, you have no idea how much personal development they're doing. So don't even waste your time comparing yourself to other people in this business ever. It's one thing if like you want, like if you're like, hey, like I'm pushing for Success Club 10 this month, or you pushing 2, let's push each other, you know. It's one thing to do that, but never sit back and go, oh, so-and-so is here in their business and I'm here, I must be doing something wrong. Okay. Don't ever compare yourself to other people, and be proud of your successes, even if they might seem small. I look back at like the things that I did in the beginning, and at the time I was, you know, I was just like, nah, whatever, like that's nothing to somebody else. And that could have been huge to other people, you know, even if it's like a tiny paycheck or small results, that might be huge to somebody else who's looking for that. Okay. So there's always going to be somebody that, you know, makes more money than you, has better results than you, like, and you're always going to tell yourself, oh, it's not enough, I could be doing better, or I could be making more, or whatever. And you got to realize that success is success no matter how big or small it is. Okay. So be proud of any success that you see that you work for and you earn. Okay. I already talked about this. I just said, you know, I wouldn't compare myself to anybody. I said, you don't know their story or their sacrifices. That's another one I didn't really touch on. That's the other thing. You don't know what people are sacrificing, you know, behind closed doors. For me, I can tell you one sacrifice that I made that I know a lot of other coaches weren't really willing to make, is I did not have like me like off time. And I was okay with this. I'm not telling you that this is what you need to do. I'm just telling you this is what I did. This is my story. I didn't watch TV. I didn't like go out, you know, with my girls. Like I didn't do that kind of stuff. Like when I had free time, when the kids were in bed, or, you know, if something wasn't going on, I was working my business, or I was doing personal development, or I was doing the things that were going to make me grow. And that's because that's where my passion lied. And the other thing is, you also don't know other people's why. Okay. So like I said, with me, my why is for my family, my kids, to have more time with them, to, you know, have more moments with them. That might not be somebody else's why. Just because somebody is a parent doesn't necessarily mean that their why is to have a lot of time with their kids. Maybe their why is more based around like finances and income. And that's fine, you know, but you don't know what everybody's why is. You don't know what they're aiming for and what they're working for. So don't get caught up in that comparison. I would keep my Facebook clutter-free and easy to filter through. And this is something that I didn't do in the beginning. I look back, and I've told you guys this before. My profile picture was like me hitting emerald. I had profile pictures that like had my link like slapped straight across them, and just gross stuff. And back then, like that was kind of a little bit more popular because that was back before like MLMs were really a thing. But nowadays you don't want to be throwing your link up everywhere. You want to keep your Facebook, your social media clutter free, and keep it simple for people. Okay. A couple of things I wrote down, you know, I wouldn't put a ton of pictures or a ton of wording on your I wouldn't put a ton of wording on your pictures. So every now and then, like I'll do a picture with like a quote on it, you know, or something like that. And that's fine. You just don't want like every single one of your pictures to have like graphics on it or have like writing on it. And it's just because that kind of like overwhelms people if it's all the time. Because like I said, people are so busy, they're scrolling, you know, they're whatever. And if they see like all this stuff that like makes them have to stop and like do work in their brain, they're like, nah, I can't do that right now. And they keep scrolling. So you want to kind of keep it simple and clean for people. Oh, I've talked about this before too, but another thing is don't post a ton of pictures at one time. And that is because most of the time people aren't going to take the time to flip through every single one of them. Now there's going to be, guys, you can't come over here. It's going to cut me out. Watch out. There's going to be certain times and like certain events where you might want to post like a few pictures at once, you know, if it's like a birthday party or a vacation or something like that. But I wouldn't like, for example, I wouldn't like do a workout and take like 3 sweaty selfies and post them all at one time. Just because it's not going to benefit you. It's not beneficial. Because like I said, people, they're probably not going to stop and look through a bunch of pictures at once. So instead, just pick one picture, one, you know, clean, good lighting picture and post that one. And then I wrote, you know, I wouldn't post my link, but I already talked about that. Okay, another thing that I would have done is I would have created a little bit of curiosity. And this is like a fine line for me because I'll be honest with you guys. I am like the type of person that I can't stand, like, for example, the statuses where it's like, oh, I have an awesome announcement. I'll tell you tomorrow. That kind of stuff, I'm just going to be honest with you, turns me off. Like, it turns me off. It instantly makes me go, ugh, like, why don't you just tell us now? Are you trying to get attention? Like, that's the thought process I have. And I will tell you that not everybody has that thought process, but knowing that I have that thought process means that the people that I'm attracting probably have that thought process. So I'm not going to do something that completely turns me off. Like, if there's something that you just don't like that doesn't speak to you, you don't want to turn around and do it yourself, okay? But at the same time, you do want to create a little bit of curiosity on your social media. And what I mean by this is you don't want to like paint the whole picture for them right away, okay? So like, for example, I used to, when I would talk about like a workout program, let's just say I was talking about Brazil butt lift back in the day. I would literally, in a post on my Facebook, I would tell them all about the workouts. Like, I would break down the exercise for them, exactly what it consisted of. I would tell them the name of the program, the Brazil butt lift, you know, and I would give them all the details. And the problem with that is when you do that, we live in a world where most people think that like they're know-it-alls. They think that they can just figure out everything on their own and that their opinion is better than your opinion. And, you know, they're just going to figure it out and make their own decision. So what happens when you do that generally is people go, they do their own research, okay? They go on Google and they Google Brazil butt lift. And then next thing you know, there are 100 comments into a blog, and here's somebody that says that they did Brazil butt lift and it didn't work and they didn't get any results and it is a fraud. It's a terrible program. Don't do it. And then that person's going, oh man, well, this person said that they did it and they didn't get results and it's a terrible program. Well, I'm not going to do it. So here they saw your post about Brazil butt lift. They went, did their own research, found somebody on Google who claims that they did it and it didn't work. And then they never even reach out to you because they just went ahead and decided on their own that they weren't going to do it because John in New Jersey said it didn't work. Okay. And then you never have any idea that that person was even interested. And you never even have a chance to tell them your side of the story. You never have a chance to tell them, well, hey, I know that John in New Jersey said that it didn't work for him, but let me show you what it did for me, okay? And let me tell you why this program was amazing for me. So instead, if you do something, you know, where you're like, you know, I'm doing I mean, you guys can go look at my posts. The way I talk about 80-day obsession, I constantly just refer to it as this program or, you know, this thing I'm doing. And I don't do it in a way where it sounds cheesy or gross or weird, you know, like I talked about. Like, I don't do it in a way where it like turns me off, you know, like I'm being fake or trying to hide something. I'm just not going to put it all out there for everybody. I'm not going to be like, hey, I'm doing this 80-day obsession program that follows time nutrition, because just like I said, somebody's going to decide they're interested. They're going to go on Google. They're going to Google time nutrition, and somebody who tried to do time nutrition that didn't actually do it right is going to talk about how it didn't work, and then they're going to decide that they can't do time nutrition. Okay, so leave a little bit of curiosity to the point where people will reach out to you. And it happens pretty much every time with one of my posts. Somebody will say, what program are you doing? Or they'll message me and they'll say, hey girl, what are you doing? And then that gives me the opportunity, first of all, then I know that that person is interested. And then it gives me the opportunity to personally tell them what I'm doing and what it's done for me. Okay, so it really just kind of takes it and it puts it in your hands, so you kind of have control of the conversation and you have the opportunity to explain to them what it's doing for you. Okay, so create a little bit of curiosity. That's just one example with the workout programs. But you can do the same thing like with coaching, you know, and things along those lines. It's okay to have a little bit of curiosity so people come to you for answers. Okay. I would stop relying on my upline or other people for my success. And I got to start getting through these quick, guys, so I don't keep you on here all night. So this was a big one for me in the beginning. As most of you know, my uplines in the beginning of the business, one of them, my direct upline, didn't even work the business. And then my upline above her just she never reached out to me. Like, she never really involved me in things. And I always kind of sat back and was like, what the heck? Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm a good coach. You know, I work really hard. I'll be honest, I had the thought back then, like, I know I'm making them money. Like, why don't they care about me? And for a long time, this really kind of like hung me up. And I almost like developed this thought that like, I couldn't be successful without their help. And I had like this belief that, you know, I couldn't just find the answers myself, or I couldn't just find success myself if they weren't kind of willing to like be there and be in my corner. And while I want you guys to know that you will hopefully never feel that way on my team, and I hope if you ever do, you will let me know, and you will always have me, I also want you to be okay with knowing that you don't need me, or you don't need your upline, or you don't need anybody else anywhere to be successful. Your own success really lies on you. It lies, you know, in the things that you do every day. It lies in how much you really try to overcome those mental blocks that we talked about, and how much you're willing to really push out of your comfort zone and all those things. So use your upline, and, you know, if they're there for you, take advantage of that, because I'll tell you guys that that is a positive that some coaches don't have. But also don't be held back. Like, don't limit yourself to your upline. If you have something that you want to know, you know, go out there and find it. Or, you know, if your upline can't answer it right away, go get the answers. Or if you want to do something different, go do it. A perfect example for you is Amber. You know, her and I were texting the other day, and we were talking about organization. And she was saying she really needs to get organized. Like, she needs to find a different system. And she's like, you know, what are you doing right now? Are you still using the binder method? And I was telling her, no, I'm not really using the binder method, but I'm still like a pen and paper kind of person. I use like the notes section of my phone. I use the reminders on my phone. And I just told her, like, when it comes to organization, I am kind of somebody who uses like a bunch of different things, and I'm kind of a little bit all over the place. And I really am not like the best at organization. Like, I'm just not the greatest at it. So she was telling me that, you know, she was looking into using Streak, and you know, she's going to try it out. And I'm like, yes, like, heck yeah, go try it, you know, and see how it works for you. And then I'm like, and let me know, because if you love it, maybe I'll use it. So my point is don't feel like you have to like only walk in your upline's footsteps, or like you can't like do something different, or you can't try something different and you have to like be held back by them. They're there to help you, but you are still your own person with your own ideas. You're going to have things that you do better than your upline. So don't let that hold you back. Okay. The next thing is I would have removed the negativity from my life, and I would have stopped playing into people's, I wrote down bullshit, so I'll say BS. I would have stopped playing into people's BS. So this is another thing that I struggled with a lot in the beginning. I was a big people pleaser. I was a doormat, and I would just surround myself with negative people, and I would just let them like just dump all their crap in my lap. And I was constantly like dealing with other people's negativity and trying to fix problems that they didn't even want to fix. And, you know, I had coaches even that like I had issues with, that it was just like this, it just brought me like down. It was just like this negative cloud that was constantly over my head, and it took so much joy out of my business. And I finally got to the point where I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not allowing these people to come and dump this negativity and this crap in my lap. And you guys, this goes for coaches and challengers. One big difference, one big thing that I've made in my business is that I will not allow coaches to come to me and be nasty. There's a big difference between bringing like a problem, you know, and trying to resolve it. And there's a difference between having a problem that you want to resolve and just wanting to be negative and complain and create drama for no reason. And I used to allow that all the time with challengers and coaches, and I don't allow it anymore. I don't work with challengers who, you know, I used this example the other day. I told you guys about this example the other day where my neighbor signed up, you know, messaged me the night before about Beachbody On Demand, and then turned around and signed up randomly for Beachbody On Demand, and didn't sign up under me because she didn't have the patience or to let me message her back, or she didn't text me. She didn't really go out of her way to try to sign up under me. And in that moment, I was like, well, I could get her Beachbody On Demand order transferred to me and get her put under me. And then I said no, because people like that are not the people I want to work with anymore. I don't want to work with somebody who automatically is going out of their way to, you know, make sure that I don't get credit for, or whatever it is that they're trying to do. I don't even know. It's drama, and that kind of stuff I don't allow in my business anymore. And you guys will find that when you get to that point, and when you really accept that, you'll have so much more like passion and fun in your business, because you won't be surrounded by all that. And getting it out of your life, I mean, it goes further than just the business, guys. Negative people, if you have negative family members, if you have people that are constantly bringing you down and making you feel like crap, you have to get that out of your life. You got to get it out of your life, because it's going to affect you. Your news feed, if you have people that every time you see something of theirs in your news feed, it like brings you like negative feelings, you know, or it just makes you like not feel good, you need to unfollow those people, at least for a little while, until they figure out their crap. Because when you're constantly surrounding yourself with that stuff, whether you realize it or not, it has an effect on your mental state. And your mental state in our business is big, and really in life. Like, I feel like people don't embrace your mental state as much as they should in life. It's really not just a Beachbody thing. Yes, with Beachbody, you need to have a good mental state, but why would everybody in life not want a good mental state? Like, we should all be embracing positivity and surrounding ourselves with people that make us feel good instead of surrounding ourselves with crap that makes us feel like crap. Okay. Another one is I would know that there's going to be bad days or hiccups. So this is pretty simple. Know that bad days are going to come, you guys. I hate to break it to you, but life happens and there's going to be bad days in your business. You know, Coach Relations might make a mistake on something, or you might make a mistake on something. You might have a challenger that just doesn't actually really want help and they decide they're going to return their challenge pack without even telling you. You're going to have things like that happen. And I'm not saying this for you to be like, oh, great, like what's going to happen, you know, because the good definitely outweighs the bad. But the reason I point this out is because I see so many coaches that something like minor will happen. Like Coach Relations will make like a simple mistake and they are like stuck in a rut about it for like a month. Like they just can't get past the fact that Coach Relations messed up their 2 SC points, their 2 Success Club points. Or they have one challenger that decides for whatever reason they're going to return their challenge pack, or they just fall off and they don't do their workout. And the coach falls into a funk for a month because this challenger decided they weren't going to do it. And it's only one person out of hundreds of people that you could be helping. So don't let the minor bad days, bad times, don't let those keep you down. Yes, it's normal to have an initial reaction where you're frustrated or you're hurt or you're upset or whatever, but then you get past it and you move on because there are way too many good days and good moments ahead waiting for you. There's no reason to stay stuck in that stuff. So don't stay stuck there, you guys. And, you know, life happens too. There's going to be times in your life where something comes up and you're like, man, I am not very motivated to motivate people. Like right now, I don't really feel like talking to anybody. And that's okay. Like you're going to have those days. Let yourself have those days, but don't stay stuck there. Like I think that is the big thing that a lot of people miss is you can't let yourself stay stuck in a bad situation. Okay. You got, as hard as it is, you've got to work your way out of that funk. You got to work your way out of that mess. And sometimes it's bigger things, you know, and it takes a little bit of time. But as long as you're putting in the effort to get yourself out of that, then you're doing it right. I would have not wasted time on stuff that isn't going to move my business forward as a new coach. And I wrote down avoiding the real growth. Okay, so I've told you guys before, and I'm going to try to go through this real quickly. I made the mistake as a new coach where I decided that I didn't want to do the boring stuff. Like I didn't want to do the work, the actual work. I wanted to hire a business coach and I wanted to create a pretty website and I wanted to learn how to do all these pretty PicMonkey graphics and all this stuff. And that's all fine and great once you're to that point where you should be doing that. But I'm just going to tell you guys right now that you have to do the boring work. And you got to stop avoiding the real stuff that's going to actually make you grow, which is those vital behaviors, which is posting about your workouts and, you know, making your challenge groups good and, you know, reaching out to your challengers and working with your team or whatever it is. You got to do that stuff and you can't just avoid it. So don't waste time. Don't be like, oh, like, you know, I'm kind of having like a down month. You know what? So I think I'll start a blog then because, you know, that will make things good. That is something you do later on, you know, when you're a veteran coach or you're a coach that's kind of already figured out the vital behaviors and you have a system down and you're having a slow month. You do that then, but you don't do that as a new coach. As a new coach, you don't say, hey, I haven't gotten any challengers this month, so I think I am going to start an email system where I send emails to all of my people, and that's going to bring me challengers. No, guys, what's going to bring you challengers is going back to the basics. Anytime that you find that you're like, man, I'm kind of having a slow month, you probably need to go back to the basics. And we tend to overcomplicate it more than we need to. Sometimes it really just is as simple as going back to the basics of sharing about what you're doing and inviting people and doing some personal development and all that good stuff, okay? So don't waste time on the stuff that feels fun but isn't really going to get you anywhere as a new coach, because that it's just time wasted, okay? I would have embraced the growth a little bit more. And I kind of already talked about this in the beginning, but I really, looking back, like I said, you know, I would get frustrated and I would get like impatient. And I really didn't even grow that slow, to be totally honest. I mean, I did a pretty good job. My income and my team and everything grew pretty well. But there were definitely times where I was like, why am I not a millionaire yet? Like, I should definitely be a millionaire, you know? And I was like constantly looking forward, like, and getting, you know, frustrated. Like, I want this and I want this business and I want, you know, a bigger team and all that. Instead of just really like embracing the fact that I was growing as a person. Because guys, I will tell you, I look back and the person I was 3, 4, 5 years ago was a completely different person than the person I am now. Like inside, like deep inside, like my mind, like who I am. And I am only this person I am now because of Beachbody. Like I can say that 100%, that I have grown as a person. I'm not even talking about business wise. I'm not even talking about income and all that other stuff. I'm talking about me as a person, like my mindset, all that stuff. I am a million times further along in those areas in my life than I was 3, 4, 5 years ago. And it is because of Beachbody, 100%. Okay. So I know it's kind of hard, like when you're kind of still here, to really embrace that, but just know that if you're like staying consistent and you're putting in that work and that effort, like you're going to change. Your life is going to change. You're going to change. You're going to become a stronger person and like better in all areas, like all roles you fill. You're going to become a better person in all those areas. Okay. So embrace that. I would have stuck with the consistency and known that people are watching. And this might be the biggest tip I can give you guys. And you guys hear me say it all the time, consistency. But consistency is probably the #1 tip I can give you guys. If you do anything in your business, stay consistent. And I would have known that people were watching. And I tell you guys this all the time, and I hope that you really hear me when I say this, but I watched the other side come back around. I've been doing this long enough now that I have personally seen it go full circle. And people are watching you, and they're waiting, they're deciding, they're seeing if you're serious about this. And most of the time, the people that are watching you don't say a word. I saw a quote the other day. I think I told Amber about it, and I'm trying to remember what it said. But it was something along the lines of the people who are watching you the most, or the people who are watching you the closest are the most quiet, or something along those lines. And I was going to share it in the team page and I forgot. But I was like, yes, like that is perfect for this subject. And it is so true. Normally the people that are like sitting back thinking the hardest about it are the most quiet. They're not liking your posts. They're not messaging you. You have no idea they're watching you, okay? You just have to know that people are watching. Whether you're getting likes and messages or whatever, you've got to know that people are watching. And in the beginning, it's going to take a little bit of time for people to reach out because they have to gain that trust. And they have to see that what you have to offer is worth their time. So that's why you have to find that consistency and you have to keep it. And you just have to be patient and remember that it's going to come around full circle as long as you hold up your end of the bargain, okay? I would have used the resources that I was given, and then I would have taken action, okay? So I would have watched the calls from the top coaches and the calls and the Beachbody Champions page. And it's like, we always watch those calls and we're like, yes, like, yeah, okay, yep, I need to do that. You know, oh, that's a good tip. And then we get off calls and we're like, whatever. And we don't do anything. We don't take action. Or, you know, we're like, yeah, well, next week we'll do that. You know, even this call, some of you, I'm just going to say it. Some of you you're going to listen to this call and you're going to be like, okay, you know, I do need to be more consistent. I've been lacking in that area. I will do that. And you're going to get off the call and you're going to be like, okay, it's Wednesday. I need to be more consistent. All right, I'm going to start being consistent on Monday. That's when I'm going to start being consistent. And then Monday's going to come around and you're going to be like, oh man, like something bad happened this weekend. I had a rough weekend and I'm just not in the mood. You know, I don't feel like talking about anything on social media. Okay, I'll start when I feel better. And it's going to be this vicious cycle that keeps happening if you don't break the cycle. And guys, nobody can do it for you. I wish. There's sometimes where I see so much potential in coaches and I'm like, if I could just like take their phone and be them or, you know, go to their house and control their social media pages or whatever it is and just like let them see the potential that they have. And guys, it drives me crazy sometimes because sometimes it is so simple. It's something as simple as that coach is lacking consistency and there's so much potential there, but they just aren't consistent and they're not doing it. And so they're not getting anywhere. And then, you know, it becomes this vicious cycle where the coach feels like they're not getting anywhere and they don't do anything and, you know, and it goes back and forth. So you have to take action because nobody else can do it for you. As much as I wish I could, trust me, there are times where I wish I could take the action for you guys, but I can't. So you got to take action. And then a couple of things that I listed that, you know, I just felt like I kind of did right without really knowing that I did right in the beginning. I didn't wait until I was an expert to share what I was doing. By the way, guys, I got probably about 5 more minutes and then I'll be done. I didn't wait until I was an expert to share about what I was doing. This was a big one for me in the beginning because I constantly look back and I'm like, you know, in the beginning as a new coach, I knew absolutely nothing. I knew nothing about eating right. I knew nothing about the business. I knew nothing about exercise. But I look back and I'm like, I had quite a few people join me in the beginning. I think my first paycheck was like $250, which was pretty good for my very first Beachbody paycheck. And so I'm like, what did I do? And it is literally just that I shared excitedly about what I was doing. It wasn't because I was an expert. I just shared about what I was doing and it made other people want to join me because they saw what it was doing for me. So one thing that I didn't do is I didn't sit back and wait until I had all the answers to share about what I was doing. You know, I wasn't like, oh, you know, I can't talk about coaching until I go through the whole training, or, you know, I can't talk about this workout program that I'm doing until I have my final results. That's one thing that a lot of coaches do. They're like, I don't want to announce that I'm a coach until I have my final results from the workout program. And there's no reason to do that, you guys. You don't have to be an expert and you don't have to have all the answers. And here's a little thing, in case you don't know, you're never going to have all the answers. There's always going to be something new to learn, or something's going to change and you're going to have to learn something new. So you're never going to feel like you know everything. So if you're sitting around waiting until you're an expert or you have all the answers, you're just doing yourself a disservice because there's no reason to do that, okay? Like I said, I led with excitement. That was in the beginning for me, guys. And, you know, and even now, I just lead with excitement. And the times where I'm like excited about what I'm doing and I'm sharing about that, those are the times where I'm most successful because that's what people feed off of. They feed off of that energy. They feed off of that excitement. And that's what they want. That's what everybody is really looking for. They're looking for that thing that's going to bring them happiness and excitement, you know, and they're looking for that is going to bring them all of that. Okay. So share that. Another thing that I did is I put my blinders on and I moved forward. And this was a huge thing for me too. And this is something that I see a lot of people and a lot of coaches struggle with. I am very much like, I know what I want. I know what I believe in. And I'm not going to let other people's opinions like alter that. So when there comes times where there's like stuff clouding my vision, or, you know, like I said, I log on to Facebook and there's just like negativity, or there's somebody bashing Beachbody, I put my blinders on, and I put my blinder on where I block them from Facebook or unfollow them or whatever, and I move on. I don't get stuck in that crap. Like, I don't sit back and go, oh, you know, this person is bashing Beachbody or whatever it is, and, you know, they make me feel bad, so I'm not going to move on. Guys, screw that. Who cares about everybody else's opinion? Like, you know what it's done for you, okay? You know what you believe in. Put on your blinders and move forward. If you have people that are giving you a hard time about your business, they're telling you, oh, you know, you're not ever going to be able to make that an actual thing, like network marketing is whatever, or you're spending too much time, or you shouldn't be posting those pictures are inappropriate. Guys, there's always going to be somebody with a freaking opinion. So put your blinders onto that crap and move forward. I just wrote down, I'm trying to see what I was talking about here. Oh, I just wrote down like an example about this for you guys is like, just let's talk about the MLM hopping thing. Okay. This is a perfect example of a time where you need to put your blinders on and you need to move forward. So I wrote down somebody who quits Beachbody, and, you know, if somebody quits Beachbody and they go in and they start bashing Beachbody and they start talking about their new thing, whatever they're doing, if they go to another MLM and they start talking about that, so many people will be like, oh man, like, is what they're saying about Beachbody true? Is this true? And you will get blindsided by that crap, and you will start to like believe it and question it, instead of like saying to yourself, how could this benefit this person who quit Beachbody that is now doing something else? So they're bashing Beachbody because it would benefit them if I believe the doubt that they're trying to put in my mind, and I join them in this new force or whatever it is. And maybe that's why they're trying to plant that doubt in my mind. So I should put my blinders on and I should move forward. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with this area. Guys, you got to know when to just get rid of the doubt. Okay. And those like purposeful interruptions that people have, and it's not even just like bashing Beachbody. That's not the only example. You know, people will put crap in your news feed to throw you off, or they will say stuff right to your face to throw you off. And sometimes it's just because people are unhappy people and they're seeing your success and they're seeing your happiness, and they want to be happy for you, but they can't because they're not happy themselves. So they're gonna, you know, throw little nuggets out there to try to discourage you, or they're gonna, you know, post some crap that you know is aimed towards you. And I'm just trying to think of examples, but you guys get the point. You know what I'm saying? But that kind of stuff is going to happen. And that's when, as a leader, as a business owner, an entrepreneur, and just as somebody that's trying to grow yourself as a person, you just got to be like, I'm putting the blinders on and I'm moving forward. And it goes back to the, you know, not fitting into the negativity and not surrounding yourself with that crap. So that, I think, that's pretty much it. That's all I wrote down. So I'm sure there's more that I would have done differently. I could probably list 5,000 things, but those are just some things that came to my mind and some things that I know that new coaches struggle with, or coaches in general struggle with. And I think you guys really just need to take these things, write them down, have them in front of your face, and just kind of remind yourself, you know, am I staying consistent? Am I keeping the negativity out? Am I, you know, making sure that I'm not letting this silly doubt get in my head, or I'm not letting other people's opinions keep me from moving forward? And keep pushing forward, because you're going to look back and you're going to be like, man, time flies and I want to be where I want to be. So start doing it now. Don't wait. Don't be like, oh, I'm going to wait until Monday, or, you know, life is too difficult right now, so I can't do this right now, because then you're just going to stay stuck. You're going to stay in the same position. And before you know it, a year's going to go by and you're going to be like, dang, like, I'm not where I want to be. This is not where I wanted to be a year from when I started. So start it all now. You have everything you need. And we're giving you these tips. I do these calls with you. You have the Beachbody Champions page. You have all the tips. You have the advice. You have the tools you need. You just got to find that motivation in yourself and go and do it. Okay. So, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. Next week, I won't be doing a team call because I will be in Mexico. And then I think that is also the week that we have Rachel. Oh my gosh, I always forget her last name. Rachel Hollis or Hollingsworth or whatever it is. If you guys didn't see my announcement in the team page, she is the author of Girl Wash Your Face, which is an amazing book. I keep hearing. I have it in my possession. I just haven't started it yet. But if you haven't read it, I suggest reading it. I'm hearing really great things about it. But she's going to be hosting the Bombshell team call. And then the following week, I think our team call is going to be somebody else's team call, who is having the creator of To Be Mindset talk. So I'll let you guys know more about that. And then I got some other stuff that I want to share soon. So I might share it on a team call, or I might just come in the team page and talk to you guys. So have an awesome week. I will be in touch with you guys while I'm over in Mexico as much as I can. If you need anything, send me a text message, or you know how to get a hold of me. And I'll go ahead, and if you guys have any questions or anything you want to say, just unmute yourself. If not, you can sign off the call, and I will chat with you soon.
Have fun.
Thanks. I'll share all the pictures so you guys can see.
All right.
All right, ladies. Thank you for getting on. Have a good night.
Night.